I never imagined one single file on a phone could destroy a man's entire sense of reality. Not until the night my husband, Adam, discovered the video. We'd been married for 9 years. The kind of marriage people pointed at and said, that's what love looks like. We were steady, predictable, woven into each other's routines like muscle memory. Every Sunday, he made pancakes. I'd water the plants, and the world always felt right. But that illusion had been cracking long before the video appeared. It started small. Missed dinners unread. Texts, a strange tone whenever he said, my name. Adam wasn't angry, not even distant, just quieter, like something in him was fading. I told myself it was work. He was handling a new project, constantly traveling. But the truth had been sitting in our house the whole time, waiting for the wrong person to press play. It was a Thursday night when everything collapsed. I had fallen asleep on the couch. The last thing I remember was the soft blue glow from the TV and Adam scrolling through my phone searching for a picture of us for his sister's wedding slideshow. I didn't even move when he unlocked it. He knew my password. We had nothing to hide. Or so I believed. I woke up to a silence I had never heard before. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that hums with danger. The kind that comes right before your world falls apart. Adam was standing in front of the window, phone in hand, shoulders shaking. The glass caught his reflection. Pale, hollow, eyes lost. I said his name once, twice. No answer. When he finally turned, he didn't look like my husband anymore. Is this you? He asked. His voice was so calm it scared me. I followed his eyes to the phone screen. A video. He didn't even need to press play. My throat tightened. Instantly. My best friend Julia had recorded it 6 months ago. A party, too. Much wine, me venting, saying things that sounded cruel when replayed. Things no spouse should ever hear. How I felt. Trapped, how I sometimes wondered what life would have been like if I never married Adam. I had no idea she'd recorded it. No idea it still existed. Adam, please, I whispered, stepping closer. You're misunderstanding. He pulled back like my touch burned him. Misunderstanding, he repeated. You said you felt like I was dead weight. Like you stayed with me out of pity. Every word hit like a hammer. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just stared at me like I was a stranger who had broken into his home. That was worse than any explosion. The hours that followed were a blur. I tried explaining, tried reaching him, but Adam walked through the house like a ghost, packing clothes, charger, wallet, his whole life shrinking into a duffel bag. When he finally stopped at the door, he said something I'll never forget. I spent years believing I wasn't enough, but I never thought you'd confirm it. And then he left. I didn't chase him. Maybe part of me knew I didn't deserve to. The next morning, the silence in our house was unbearable. His coffee mug sat by the sink, the last shirt he wore still on the chair. I tried calling straight to voicemail. I texted Julia, furious, hurt, begging her to explain why she'd even saved that recording. Her reply came hours later, short and cruel. He asked if I had anything that would help him understand what's wrong between you two. I didn't expect him to find that one. That's when it hit me. He went looking for proof that I didn't love him anymore. And he found it. That video didn't just break him. It confirmed every fear he'd buried beneath years of loyalty and effort. 3 days passed before I heard from anyone who saw him. His brother called and said Adam was staying at a motel near the coast alone, drinking too much, refusing visitors. I drove there that night not to beg, just to see him, to make sure he was still breathing. When I arrived, the door was slightly open. The air smelled like salt and whiskey. Adam sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the phone on the table, the same one that had shown the video. His eyes lifted to me slowly, and I saw what was left of him. He said softly, You know what's strange? I kept that video. I can't stop watching it. Every time I hear your voice say those words, it feels like someone else's speaking through you. Someone I never knew. He wasn't angry anymore. That was the worst part. He was broken in a way that anger couldn't touch. I sat down on the other side of the room, afraid that if I got too close, he'd disappear completely. The lamp flickered beside the bed, throwing pale light on the walls. The kind of light that makes everything look fragile. Adam, I whispered. I was drunk that night. I didn't mean any of it. He gave a dry laugh, one that didn't sound like him. That's what people say when truth slips out, isn't it? They blame the alcohol. I wanted to fight back, defend myself, but the words wouldn't come. Maybe because a part of me knew that in that moment the woman in the video had meant every word. Not because I didn't love him, but because I was tired. Tired of routine. Tired of feeling invisible. Tired of us turning into something safe, but silent. He picked up the phone again, thumb hovering over the screen. You know what hurts most? It wasn't what you said. It's that you said it to someone else. I could have handled anything if you'd told me first. That hurt deeper than any insult. I looked at him, then really looked at the man who fixed my car in the middle of a snowstorm, who drove 3 hours to bring me soup when I was sick, who spent years trying to love me better even when I stopped trying. And I realized how selfish I'd been. I can't undo it, I said softly. But I can be honest now. I said those things because I felt invisible. You stopped talking to me, Adam. We became polite strangers in the same home. He stared at me for a long time. The silence stretched so long I could hear the ocean outside crashing against the rocks. Finally, he said, You wanted fireworks. I was trying to build a fire that wouldn't burn out. Something in me broke because that's exactly who he was. A man who built steady things. And I mistook his calm for indifference. He stood up, grabbed his jacket, and said, You should go. I didn't move. Please just tell me if this is really it. He looked at me then, and there was nothing left behind his eyes but exhaustion. It's already been over, hasn't it? That video didn't end us. It just showed me what we've been pretending not to see. I wanted to scream, to make him remember all the good parts, but the words stayed buried beneath guilt. So I just nodded and walked out, leaving the key on the table beside his phone. Outside, the air was cold, the kind that stings your lungs. I sat in the car for nearly an hour before I turned it on. Through the window, I could still see him, frozen, staring at the screen like a man trying to understand the ruins. That was 3 months ago. I haven't seen him since. His number changed. His social media vanished. The house we shared was sold without a single message. It's like Adam erased himself from the map of my life. But sometimes late at night I replay that last conversation in my mind. The way his voice broke when he said, You said it to someone else. It's strange how one sentence can haunt harder than an entire fight ever could. Julia and I don't speak anymore. She sent one final text. He deserved to know. Maybe she's right, but the truth didn't save him. It shattered him. I've written letters I'll never send, messages I'll never deliver. Not because I expect forgiveness, but because the silence feels too heavy. There are times I still reach for my phone to text him, to ask if he's eating, if he's sleeping, if he's alive, but I stop myself every
time.
Because I already know he's not the same man anymore. And maybe that's the punishment I live with. Not losing the marriage, but knowing I took something pure and turned it into something unrecognizable. The secret video didn't just destroy him. It stripped away the illusion that love can survive unspoken truths. It proved that honesty, when delayed too long, becomes poison. That word said behind someone's back echo louder than the ones said face to face. If I could go back, I'd tell him everything before the camera ever did. I'd tell him love isn't a performance, that sometimes quiet affection looks like indifference, and that I was wrong to crave chaos over
peace.
But it's too late now. The world moved on. His number belongs to someone
new.
Our song comes on the radio sometimes, and I turn it off before the first chorus, because that's what grief
is.
It's not loud. It's the silence between lines. It's the empty side of
the bed.
It's knowing that somewhere out there, the man you broke is learning how to live without remembering your face. And every time I think of him, of that night, of that one video that shattered everything we were, I can still hear his voice in my head, quiet and final.
I
kept trying to build something steady, and you just wanted to watch it burn. And maybe he was right, because in the end, that's exactly what I did.